It's good to see you all. Today I decided to make a different kind of video. I was out harvesting dandelion from the yard, and a woman stopped by and she was like, "Are you on YouTube or Instagram? I think I've seen you before, like your face, like I recognize you. And you were talking about dandelion tea." And I was just like, I don't know. Like, I definitely know that I was on Instagram, like sharing about a salad, a warm bowl that I was making that had dandelion leaves in it. And she was like, "Yeah, I think that was you. I think I follow you." And so, basically, the conversation ended after that. But it just really inspired me to come out here and to um, make this video for you all. So I guess we can get started. I want to talk a little bit about dandelion, or a lot. We'll see how much wants to flow through. I don't really have a specific plan or a specific direction for this video. It's more of like a free flow and just wanting to share about the beautiful medicinal medicines and the beautiful qualities of the dandelion flower and the root and the leaves and just the essence of the flower. And so I really want to start off by saying that over the years, I've continually heard that for many people, specifically, I can really only speak for um, like Americans, because that's where I currently reside and where I was born and raised. But oftentimes there's this idea that dandelion and you think about burdock or plantain or clover or cleavers, all these plants are labeled as weeds or something that we have to get rid of, or um, that they're invading the space. And in all actuality, if you really think about it, a lot of these plants were naturalized in the Americas, and um, they're actually protecting the soil, right? So one of the reasons why dandelions and these weeds grow and bloom, in the springtime in people's lawns and their front lawns, is because that's not actually how um, that's not actually like the natural state of the soil and of the earth and of the land, right? Like, it wasn't until like the 17th and 1800s um, that lawns were like really, really popular in Europe. And then once they were brought over due to colonization, that's when this idea of like, this is what's considered beautiful, and this is a like a status symbol of wealth. And instead of growing food, and instead of having maybe the land or the where someone resides looking wild, or having all these different plants, it's like, no, having the lawn and mowing the lawn and putting these chemicals down to that compact the soil is maybe what's best, right? And so that uh, became normalized. And so you often see that people will spray chemical pesticides and insecticides to have this like picture perfect home or this picture perfect lawn. And again, in all actuality, like, these flowers are they're protecting the land, and they're protecting the soil, and they're also rebuilding the soil due to the being so compact, and it's also protecting against fertilizer and chemical runoff. So I just wanted to share that these plants don't just grow. They don't just grow for just any reason, right? There's always a reason in nature why a flower or a plant is growing in a specific area. And it can tell you a lot about the land. In fact, I'm wearing a shirt. Um, it has cat hair on it, but I'm wearing a shirt with sunflowers on it, because actually sunflowers, the way that they are really like they really assist. They assist in so many ways, of course, but like if you are wanting to grow on land, right? If you want to be um, build relationship through maybe gardening and growing your own food, not through raised beds or not through uh, um, raised beds or pots, but you actually want to get into the dirt, right? You actually want to grow um, within, in your backyard or in your front yard, and you want to work with the actual soil and it not being in a container. Um, Sunflowers actually help pull up any chemicals and any really, like, I would say, chemical pollutants, or if there was like maybe runoff from car engines, or the transmission, or just chemicals, right? Chemicals that can seep into the earth and the soil. There's plants that actually pull it up through their roots and can begin to rebuild and rejuvenate the land, the soil and the land. Or when you think about fireweed, right? This is a plant that grows right after um, legit fires, and it rebuilds and it renourishes. And hi, bumblebee. The soil, right? And the space and the land um, where there's nothing anymore, right? Or what's perceived as nothing anymore. It's like these plants that come up, and they're resilient, and they're here to help and assist. And so I just wanted to bring that up, um, to say that, like, yeah, I mean, essentially, people will do what they will with where they live, and the beautification of their homes, whether it's inside or outside, but also just having that context of, like, yeah, these plants that maybe are labeled as burdensome, there's actually a reason, right? There's actually a reason for these plants, and they also have a lot of nutritional benefits as well. um, I'll bring dandelion a bit closer. So what I've harvested is the leaves of dandelion. I've also harvested the flower head, the stems, as well as the root. And this is not all the root, right? But this is some of it. And so my plan for this is really to work seasonally with this ally. And what that means is to be working with it right now within the springtime and making teas and colorful salads, and tonics and tinctures and that type of thing, if I feel called to be in collaboration with the plant in that way. But also, in the winter, right? In the winter, when this plant is not, we can't quote unquote see it, it's not in bloom, I can still work with it because I am preserving and harvesting the plant now when it's in season and it's in bloom. So in saying that, I can move on and speak a little bit about how people maybe work with this plant. A lot of people work with it in regards to cleansing the palate as like a spring tonic to rejuvenate the body after it's been in a long state of rest in the winter. It's also used as a digestive bitter when eating the leaves of this plant. They're very bitter. I don't know if you all can see this. This is the leaves of a dandelion if you've never seen it. Let me see if I can find another one. And it can be so prolific as well. And it grows and grows and grows. Okay, here's some more leaves. But the leaves are bitter, and so what many of our ancestors would actually have a lot of what is labeled as bitters or herbs that were bitter within their diets. And as we have evolved, our diets have now become very specialized in what we want to intake, and it's not that like we're going out and we're harvesting and this is what we're finding, but it's more so we're doing a lot more trading now. We're doing people maybe eat more sweets. We're not as in relationship with the land as we were many years ago, right? And or you think about like the hunter and gatherers time period. They used what they could find, and now again, there's so much beauty in being able to travel and to be able to have trade and being able to bring different foods from other countries. But also, people just aren't as like in relationship to what's growing seasonally around them. So what happens is people maybe start to have digestive issues or um, uh, what's the word? Like, what is it? It's like with the stomach or bloating. And so the food is actually like, it's not digesting, right? It doesn't know, like, it's not, the body isn't triggering because maybe there's already so much happening within the system and nervous system. So bitters are really good to take maybe before or after a meal, or taking maybe a dandelion tincture, or working again with herbs or plants that basically on the tongue, right? It's like it just, but that triggers, and everyone knows like it maybe tastes a bit sour, um, but that triggers the system and the tongue and the body, right? The digestive tract to begin to start that system of digesting. And so I want to read something from this book. It's called Ode to the Dandelion by Dana O'Drizzle. And I believe she speaks about this in her book. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see, because I want to really hone in on that. Yes, digestive bitters. One of the primary medicinal qualities of a dandelion is that it's bitter. Bitters are quite common in the wild, and as humans evolved, we most certainly ate lots of bitter food. This is what I was saying earlier. Just go sample any number of wild greens and you'll see exactly what I mean. But as we cultivated plants more and more, and with the rise of industrialized agriculture, we cut bitters out of our diet. The lack of bitters is one of the many factors contributing to many digestive issues today. Michigan herbalist Jim McDonald describes bitters as stimulating all digestive functions, including stomach acid, saliva, stomach enzymes, hormones produced in the stomach, bile, and so on. Each of these digestive functions, in turn, helps break down food and add to digestion and overall gastrointestinal well being. That's what I was trying to, that's the word I was looking for, but I couldn't find it. Bitters, therefore, are incredibly important to our overall digestive health and good food digestion rest as the cornerstone of healthy living. In order for the bitters to be effective, you have to taste them on your tongue. Dandelion bitters are a tonic, that is, they are something we don't take only when we're sick, but rather something we can take every day to help keep us in optimal health. I take my dandelion bitters about 10 minutes before each meal. A few drops of my dandelion root bitters on my tongue helps me, or helps, what did it say? Helps my digestion each day. And so then she goes on to talk about communion or communing with the plant, dandelion root tea. Often people will use the root as like a coffee alternative because it, in some ways, tastes like coffee. Not really, but like it gives the feeling the taste of it. Let me see. There's like different recipes in here too that speaks about it. But yeah, and then the other thing that I wanted to say too is that these flowers are so important too to our pollinators, right? When you think about the bees, the honeybees, right, and how important it is for them to be able to harvest the pollen from these plants. This is also their food, right? This is also the ways that pollinators eat. And if we don't have flowers, and if we don't have these early spring flowers, then the bees actually may have a harder time being able to get in the groove of things once it's like hot, right? So it also helps them. Break out of hibernation as well, to just see that, like, okay, well, it's warmer, and I'm seeing the colors, I'm seeing the flowers, and so it also provides maybe awareness or a kickstart for them, as it does for our system as well, to prepare our bodies and our vessels for spring. Yeah, and it's important for their survivals too. Like, literally, beekeepers, um, they lean in on their honeybees doing well, and it's really critical, especially when we've had times where, like, the honeybees were close to extinction, right? And so it's like looking at the ways in which we are actually being in right relationship, not only with the land, but with the animals and all beings, right? And what that relationship looks like, and what it looks like to be a steward of the land. The pollen will help these bees throughout the summer and keep them alive in the cold winter months. Yeah. And I'm trying to think now what I want to move on into. Yeah, so now I want to speak about, like, harvesting. Hi, bees. Hi. It's like bees and wasps all around me. But I want to speak now on harvesting dandelion. For me, often I harvest where I have relationship with the plants, right? So right now I have a home where I've been blessed to have, like, a backyard and a front yard. So I've been harvesting dandelion, the leaves, the flowers, the root, as well as violets, cleavers, dead nettle. And so you want to really look at, hi buddy. You really want to look at where you're harvesting, and ethically harvesting, not taking too much, again, being in the right relationship, being able to say, okay, this is enough, and thinking about having that awareness of why am I even harvesting this? What is it going to be used for? And ensuring that if someone wants to come along next, that they also are able to harvest. And I guess I'm saying this specifically towards the end of the season, right? Like, once we get into fall, allowing the others, right, our other humans, to be able to harvest, but also so that the flower itself and the being itself, the plant itself, can maintain its own life force and energy as well, to continue to reproduce. And then when I harvest the root, ultimately I'm harvesting the entire plant. And so what I like to do to clean the roots is to just let it sit for about 30 minutes in water, and really taking my time to rinse the plant, and to ensure that any dirt or any maybe little critters like ants or spiders that have gotten have gotten within the plant, giving them time, like shaking it out, giving them time to kind of like go about their day, and then going in and rinsing it, or often what I'll do is fill up a bucket or a bowl and with water and then bring it out here, so that I'm not, clogging the sink or the drain in that way. And then people often will dry the root and then they will use it for a tincture, like chopping it up and putting it in a tincture. Maybe if it's fresh, maybe they'll do 2 parts of the plant and then 1 part alcohol, or if it's dry, they'll do 5-part dry, um, 1 part alcohol. And you can also tincture it. You can tincture the root. You can make a dye. For the leaves, often I'll chop them up and throw them in a spring salad, or I will saute them with some oil seasoning, and it's really, really, really good. It's like a side dish. The flowers can be used to make jellies or jams. People also, I think, use the flower to make wines. I've never done that. I also use dandelion and many of the spring herbs and plants to make oxymels. So that's like often what I'll do is like do the preparation, the harvesting, cleaning, washing, and then I will fill up my jar with half ACV, apple cider vinegar, and then the rest I will pour honey, and then that will sit for about maybe 4 to 6 weeks, maybe in a sunny window. Oftentimes, if it's an oil, I will put it away from the sun, depending on what the oil was for. Sometimes I will put the oil in the sun, like in the window, so that it gets sun. So it really just depends on what the final product is for and what part of the body am I making it to support. So yeah, I'm trying to think what else. Also want to talk about flower essences, right? From my own practical, right? My practical um, um, routines and practices within my life, I have found that, again, that it's not that we were put on this land or this earth and it's like we have to figure everything out. It's like, no, actually, when we forget who we are, the flowers actually are great at stabilizing, and they don't have so much of this, hiding from this self, or like rejection, or just the ways often that as humans we can maybe dim our light or dim the lights of others, or perceive it as dimming our own light. And we can be very complexed, right? We can be very complexed in this dualistic world and experience that we're having. But the plants are just them. The plants are just naturally being them, and they don't have this veil or this illusionment or this like duality that they are working through, right? That they're clear channels, they're clear vessels, and so they can support us in regards to the different parts of the plant, but also the flower has its own specific essence. It has its own vibration, and what I say, just like flower power, that we can work with and that can bring our bodies into equilibrium, whether we're working with something on the mental, the physical, the spiritual aspect of ourselves, and how you can work with the medicinal medicine of flower, and the subtle body. It really assists on the subtle body and the etheric body. And the emotional bodies. But how you can do that is through solarization, whether it's putting the flower in water, it being at the surface of the water. You don't want to drown the plant, but like just have it sitting on the water. It can be solarized in the moon, like under a full moon, or the sun. Like today would be a good day. It's not like overcast or a lot of clouds going by. It's just like it's here, and so you'd have the flower out for a couple of hours. And then the way that you would because water is life, and it can, what's the word I'm thinking about, go rancid. um how we preserve it is through alcohol, or if people are alcohol sensitive, you can use apple cider vinegar, or you can just, if you're doing a dosage bottle, just put a few essences or drops of the stock bottle, which is like daughter bottles that come from the mother. So the first essence that's created. And you can just work with it in a spray bottle or just with water in the dosage bottle. But again, I'm saying all this to say that for me, Dandelion really works with my solar plexus. And so to me, again, that's the energy center of being in one's power. That's where often our creative and personal power is. And, this flower can be really, really a great companion for remembering our own power, remembering that we can stand in our personal power, even when it feels like it's too scary to maybe do so, or it's hard to shine our light. It really is like it's like, what's the word? How I see it is like a mother pushing their little baby out to fly. Dandelion's like, you got this. And she's really, really supportive in that, and like shining. That's the word that always comes through. Shine, shine, shine. And be in your personal power, being your truth, being in your glory, and know that that the world needs your individual medicine, and create. And it also is a great support for those who maybe have gone through trauma, or again, who may not feel that they have a voice. And this month I actually spoke a little bit about Dandelion. A message came through. I provide monthly nature support, and often that will show up by the flowers that I channel through, and that comes through for me and for the collective. Also animal kin, animal allies, the different elements, and different themes. The themes of April I share within that. So I will put that in the description box to so that you all can, if you feel called, read about Dandelion's message for the month of April and how this plant is supporting us. So I'm just going to tune in to see if there's anything else. Yeah, I also just want to say that Dandelion is a great, again, she connects us with our personal power, and being in right relationship with ourselves, and also how we're using our power within our friendship groups, romantically, with family, out in the world. And also just really is a flower that connects us back to our body as well. And really just being grounded in the present moment, and being grounded here on earth, and in this human experience, and within our body. And also just supporting the stomach, the intestines, our digestion, our nervous system. I'm just trying to think of other ways that maybe I work with this plant, or anything else that wants to flow through. Yeah, I also just like working with her in a tea. Yeah, it's really good. And I find that she's like a little bit tastes definitely stronger than if you've had like stinging nettle or nettle tea, but the essence, in regards to how they both support with like how nettle supports with vitality, and really nourishing all parts of our body. I feel that Dandelion is like a softer version of that. Let me see if there's anything else from the book that I want to share before I close out. Yep, here I wanted to bring up roasted dandelion for any of you coffee drinkers who are trying to wean yourself off, or you're noticing that coffee is just, maybe you're wanting to sit it down for a while. Roasted dandelion can be a great substitute. Here in the book it says, the dried and roasted roots make a wonderful coffee substitute. And coffee, like dandelion, is a bitter drink promoting digestion and healthy regulating of bowel movements. Here's the process of making your own dandelion root coffee. And then it goes on to say, like, you chop the roots, laying them on a baking sheet, setting your oven to 250, placing the roots inside, basically then storing the roots, and then once it's roasted, you can use like a mortar and pestle and ground it up and put it in an airtight container, or grind it with a coffee grinder or a food processor, and then use like 1 tablespoon per cup of coffee, and you can use it like coffee and add cream and honey. Excuse me. What else? Yeah, we talked about jelly, the sauteed greens. I haven't worked with it yet with dyes, so that's something I see that people use it too. But yeah, it's really great for the kidneys, the liver, the metabolism, digestive support. And actually, like, it's interesting that people, like, again, like, often don't like this plant because, or have some resistance towards it being in their yards or just seeing it. Hi, bee. It's like a bumblebee like this big, and it just, like, many of them just keep circling me, or just like getting right like here, this close to me, and they're just like staring. What was I saying? Have this resistance to it, dandelion, and it just supports in so many ways, and also with it being naturalized here, it goes to show that, like, some of the first settlers that, like, came from Europe and came from other places actually were planting dandelion seeds. And so even in a way, like, some of those first settlers like, they planted those seeds, so, like, the remembrance of them are also within the land. So yeah, for some people, and even you think about like Africans that were brought here to the Americas through the transatlantic slave trade, like, a lot of them braided seeds in their hair, to be able to bring their ancestors with them in their culture, and to be able to, them having to be taken by force from their culture and from what they know. The seeds that now maybe have been naturalized, or that are known to us in this day and age, it's because they continue to grow the food that they love, and the herbs that supported them, and the medicinal remedies that healed and supported the body. So I think it's really important for us to know and to learn more about these plants that we maybe name as, like, invasive, or like weeds, or as a what's the word? It's like as a nuisance, essentially. But yeah, it says with dyeing, dandelion flower, it dyes fabrics yellow, but the root dyes fabrics magenta. That's so cool. But yeah, I definitely recommend this book. It's a great one. And the last thing I'll share is chapter 7, Shifting Consciousness. Let's see what the author wrote here. I remember as a child how I would go into a field of dandelions, pick one seed head after another, and blow them all away. As they floated away, I would watch, wondering where the wind would take them and how long their journey would be. Dandelions have a very whimsical quality, as any child knows well. As they take flight, they appear like little fairies floating floating where the wind blows. Dandelions are truly a plant of the sun. Their flowers open when the sun is out and close at night or in overcast or rainy weather. This is true. When I tell you that I have an abundance of dandelions here, literally yesterday I had left out and I was just like, okay, when I get back, I'm going to to play and I'm going to harvest some dandelions. And basically the weather started to get cool and then it rained like it drizzled a little bit, and literally within the next hour I come back home and like they're all like closed up. And so it's interesting how the plants are very aware of the environment and of the weather and of the soil, and often are storytellers, and they often bring many things to our awareness before maybe something even occurs, or they know something about the weather before we know. And so it was so funny to see that. But let's go back to where I was. So again, dandelions are truly a plant of the sun. Their flowers open when the sun is out and close at night or in overcast or rainy weather. The seed heads, however, have a lunar quality. They appear like a full moon and stay that way regardless of the weather or light or darkness until the wind or some child comes and blows them away. At this point, the seeds take flight. A delicate umbrella carries off the tiny dandelion seed to new ground where it lands, hopefully establishing a root and growing into a new plant the next season. Observing the dandelion in this way throughout the different seasons can give one a deeper appreciation and respect for the plant. Through cultivating this relationship, we can also see the important story that the dandelions is attempting to convey to us. The story of ending our destructive and futile maintenance of lawns, allowing the land to heal, learning the secrets of healing plants that grow in our landscapes, and allowing more beneficial plants to grow for the good of all life. What I've been attempting to convey in this book is the importance of shifting our own consciousness, of understanding dandelions as more than just a pesky weed, but an important plant ally that gives so much to the land and to us if we only allow it. So, yeah, it's really, really beautiful. Definitely recommend this book. I actually haven't read this book all the way through. And I just actually stumbled across it again because I have been traveling, and there's literally a bee on the dandelion right now. Okay. Anyways, but yeah, I was traveling. I just got this book. I've been without it for like 6 months, and so it's just so funny that it found me right when I needed and wanted to film this video and was harvesting the dandelions. So I'm gonna take these in and start working with these beauties since they've been cooking in the sun now for a bit. But thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope that you gained something from it. Maybe you learned something. If you want to share, please do. I love reading the comments, and yeah, just grateful to be in this space, and I hope that you all have a beautiful rest of the day. Take care.